everyone. Today I'm painting a picture of Bono for my @U2 cartoon, which I think most of you know about, but I'll link to it below if you're curious. This is number 5 of 7 illustrations I've been putting together over the past couple of weeks, and I wanted to show this one to you because the colors involved are really unusual. What we have here is a bright golden light coming in from the left side and a deep cobalt blue on the right side. And then there's a lot of pink and magenta where they meet in the center of his face. It is nuts. Also, this is a rare instance where Bono is not wearing sunglasses, and that little change makes such a huge difference for me as a painter. So before I began this video, I masked off everything that I wanted to stay white. I also like to mask odd spots that are surrounded by colors that are completely different. Then you just saw me paint the lightest parts of the left side with the palest yellows and pinks. I really had to speed up the video to make this a manageable length. 40 seconds of painting here equal 1 second on this video, so yeah, it's super fast. I felt like I had to nail that first eye right away, and I was super happy with it. This was a good thing for my confidence because, as you can see, we are in the midst of a long, awkward phase. Anyway, that eye fascinated me because he has blue eyes, but the yellow-orange light shining on it made it seem like it was greenish-brown. So I've moved on to the rather frightening blue side of his face. It's frightening because I have never painted anyone with this kind of color situation. Concert lighting can do incredible things in terms of color, and all 7 paintings I'm doing for this cartoon of mine deal with it. I've painted them with seafoam green and blood red, and I feel like I learned something new every time, even after all these years. I hope you don't mind the U2 sound-alike music I'm using here, by the way. Obviously, I can't use actual U2. So, the blue side has been roughed in. One kind of frivolous thing I respect about Bono is he is aging in a way that is badass. He has had a rough decade, and I'm glad he is just letting that show on his face. He has earned those lines and isn't doing anything to change them. At the same time, there is always a certain amount of artifice going on with this man, and honestly, that's my philosophy too. There are certain things about myself that I tweak and certain things that I couldn't care less about. So even though he doesn't talk about this, Bono is showing Generation X how to age on our own terms. He looks weird surrounded by all that white, so I'm painting everything else that is pure cobalt blue, including his hand, jacket, microphone, and parts of his hair. Then I'm mixing a dark purple background, and I'll paint that around him. I have a few little orange highlights that the masking fluid will preserve. Next, I'm using more of that background color to block in the shadows on his jacket, and there are a lot of them. At this point, painting fatigue is setting in, and I'll finish up my session here with his right shoulder, which is purplish, and his hair, which has a lot of pink in it. I have about an hour and a half of painting left, and some of it's tricky, so I wanted to do that the next morning. I'm a much stronger painter in the morning. Alright, so it's the next day now, and the first thing I wanted to do was make that background darker. You can't always achieve rich colors in one shot. I realized that the blue side of his face was just so dark. If I made the background super dark, his face would seem lighter in comparison. And then I made the darkest parts of his jacket match the background, and just doing those 2 things made me feel a lot better. Oh hi, Pooj. His hand has the same colors going on as the ones in his face. I'm being a little looser on everything except for his face, but I'm trying to get the colors and values to match what I'm seeing. I've removed the masking fluid that I outlined him with. Lately I've been doing that when I have a dark background that I don't want to leach into the foreground. That can happen when I use a lot of paint and water, so a little line of masking fluid sort of creates a dam. And then once the masking fluid is removed, it's not too hard to paint that dam and integrate it in with the rest of the foreground. So the rest of this is finishing touches. People often ask me if I've met U2, and I haven't yet, but last month my friends Sherry and Mason from @U2 met Bono, and they showed him one of my pictures. It was a cartoony little version of him that Sherry asked me to do for a party our website was throwing to celebrate the start of the band's current tour in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I jokingly said I'd paint this little thing for Sherry as long as she got Bono to sign it for me, and much to my complete shock, she and Mason made that happen for me. and he actually spent an unusual amount of time signing it. A couple of days later, it was in my hands along with the Sharpie that Bono had used, which is an adorable object to have. So after I untape this, you'll see the picture, which is a visual pun that you'd understand if you have U2's latest album, along with a video of Bono signing it. You'll also get a chance to linger over his fabulous hair. Thanks to my friends for doing this for me, and thanks to Bono for saying my picture was brilliant. As my friend Shannon once said, I am dying and I am dead.
So good.
Yeah.
That is so good. He is my hero.
I didn't draw this. My friend Kelly did. Would you mind?
Yeah. That's so cool.
Her name is Kelly Eddington. Check that out.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, that's you.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Yes, she does all of our Achtoon Babies for at YouTube.
Hope I've spelled telescope.